Hello and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell.
Oh my God, I'm Chad McCanna.
And I'm raring to go.
Apparently.
Raring to go because we're in the Renaissance.
Oh, Jesus.
Hashtag Renaissance.
That's not a hashtag. No.
I stand with Phil.
You can't just say hashtag and make it a hashtag. That's not how hashtags work.
I just did.
Ah.
I'm trending this hashtag with my selfie stick.
Yeah, my disdain is trending right now.
Your disdain is, you're nothing but pure disdain.
Yes. I'm a very negative human being.
It's like when Gozer the Gozerian appeared over New York and said, choose the form of the Destructor, Dan Aykroyd thought of you.
Yeah. See, that's because I used to camp with Dan Aykroyd. Down by the fire at what was it? Camp Lackawanna or something like that?
Was he in a camping movie?
Yeah, it was called Uncle Buck. It was fantastic. He took a shotgun and he shot the ass off of a bear.
Did you know that Fox is making Uncle Buck a TV series?
That's disgusting, because if they're going to reappropriate a Woodland-based John Candy property, they should obviously reboot Camp Candy.
Yeah, but the problem is that they're rebooting Uncle Buck as a TV show with an African-American cast. And I don't know if you're up on your old-timey racial slurs.
Are you serious? Uncle Buck? Oh, no.
And apparently they
Wait. Why not just call it Uncle Tom, the series? It's right. They've already got Uncle. And it could star Moss Soupswill.
I know Rupert Murdoch's empire isn't really up on racial relations, but yeah, they're going to want to rethink that.
One would think. Okay. Welcome to the Kongversation.
Welcome to the Donkey Kongversation,
Yes.
where we talk about Donkey Kong-related matters.
Yes.
Including your latest John Candy news.
That's right. The Kong stands for Donkey Kong, not controversial racial elements.
That's right. And where the only candy we discuss is Candy Kong.
Unfortunately. That's to our detriment. I really think we could pick up a large John Candy fan base if we really...
John Candy.
Well, who doesn't?
I mean, look at our stable of fat comedic actors nowadays. Kevin James? No, thank you.
No, thank you.
I'll take good old John Candy.
Honestly, John Candy is the thinking man's Chris Farley.
And Chris Farley is the thinking man's Kevin James, I guess. Because Kevin James has replaced Chris Farley in all these Adam Sandler-produced abominations.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Josh Gad has sort of skirted all of that by thinning himself up. Although I do wish I saw him on Broadway in the original cast of Book of Mormon.
Josh Gad has somehow turned the Book of Mormon into a career, which, I mean, I know...
somehow. The Book of Mormon is fucking phenomenal.
I know
anyone even remotely associated with the Book of Mormon has the right to turn that into a career.
Okay, but stop annoying me while you do so.
Okay, yeah. Josh Gad is starring in the upcoming Adam Sandler vehicle Pixels. But hey, so is Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah, I know, but Josh Gad has such a punchable face, and I mean, to be fair, so does Miles Teller. There's a lot of punchable people, punchable semi-leading men in Hollywood right now.
All right, well, in Josh Gad's defense, his character in the Book of Mormon was designed to be punchable, so it was good casting.
Yes, but you can't then spin that into a career as a comedic force. Hey, so Project Ukulele, now known as Ukulele, that's doing pretty well on Kickstarter, eh?
Yup. It's doing all right. So all right that I really don't think they need our influence anymore. They've sort of left us in the dust.
Yeah, we're done plugging them.
No, we are so amazingly proud of Platonic.
We're proud parents.
No. I mean, I'm a proud fan because for so long, a decade and a half, basically. I mean, we were carrying probably a solid decade. We were carrying the 3D platformer fandom torch, and
us and a couple of others. Let's not take all of the credit.
No. I mean, but there were many occasions where the DK Vine community was like puffing on these embers that were about to go out when everyone was saying there is no audience for this, and clearly,
well, we learned how to keep a campfire alive when camping with Dan Aykroyd and John Candy.
That's right. See, it all comes around and it all pays off.
Oh my God, Camp Candy! I remember that show now.
What, you just thought I was making non sequiturs?
I was like, I don't remember that. And then all of a sudden, memories come flushing back. I haven't thought of Camp Candy.
I mean, now, Hyle, I generally walk through life in a drug-induced stupor, but in this case, I was not just manifesting the idea of an animated camp-based John Candy vehicle.
That was so weird. That was over 20 years ago.
Camp Candy. Yeah. There's a whole intro credits and everything.
I used to watch it too, and I was just like, because I would watch anything that the TV would put in front of me in those days.
Yeah, I think it was part of Fox Kids. There was like Eek the Cat and then Camp Candy.
And Fox Kids was like, someday 20 years from now, we're going to make a racially insensitive John Candy reboot.
That was the whole point the entire time.
That's why they killed him. That's why Rupert Murdoch killed John Candy.
Yeah, in the kitchen of the Ambassador Hotel. He was brought down by James.
So anyway, yeah, Yooka-Laylee. Obviously, we're going to be discussing this game from here up through release and beyond. So I don't think we really have anything to add. They added some more stretch goals and they surpassed them.
Yeah, have they beat the? So we're recording on a Thursday as per usual. Have they beat the 1.5 million pound stretch goal to get orchestrated music?
I'm tired of converting pounds into dollars, so I've kind of tapped out of even checking. I just assume they're going to break any barriers, any boundaries put in front of them. So,
well, I just loaded it, and right now, as of recording, they're at 1.44 million pounds. So yeah, by the time you hear this, we're gonna have an orchestrated soundtrack.
Wouldn't that be funny if they didn't make it? If like
they're just like, we've had enough of this campaign. All right, you got to prove yourselves first.
But
we are thoroughly unconvinced.
So look, we'll be talking about Yooka-Laylee as news crops up, and obviously everything culminates with the Kickstarter campaign the day of Nintendo's E3 reveal. So
now that is some strange timing.
That is some very strange timing.
You just sort of realized this one day, right? Like all of a sudden,
last week we realized it. The day the Kickstarter went up, we realized it.
Yes. Let's add 46 days to today.
Look, I know I'm not that great at the maths, but even I can do simple subtraction or addition. Wait, how do you do that one?
You do addition by subtracting a negative number.
I just emailed...
So if you only know subtraction, you can do addition.
So what you're saying is I didn't have to email Neil deGrasse Tyson and say, can you figure this out for me? Thanks.
Well, I mean, he will figure it out for you, but he'll also figure out what happened to the singularity of the Big Bang.
That's right. Well, he answered that for me too, so that was kind of him.
Yeah,
I didn't even ask for that. I didn't even solicit that.
Keep it under wraps, though. Okay. Let's not distribute that to a wide audience. That should be the selling point of listening through the whole episode.
Okay, fair enough. Let's wait for Platonic's second Kickstarter for that one.
Sure.
So it's one of the many mysteries piling up for this E3, which is going to make this E3 so amazing. I think so much fun to get to and experience.
The crazy thing about E3 is that, like, in the last few years, we have pretty much banked all of our hopes on whatever Nintendo has to show. But this year, I'm like, Nintendo isn't even on my radar. Really.
Oh, Nintendo's on my radar, but it's both shows for the first time. And when I say shows, I mean either stage shows or whatever the hell Nintendo's doing with
their directs.
With their directs, yes.
I people don't like the fact that Nintendo's doing directs in lieu of press conferences, but I fucking adore it. I think it is the future.
Well, it's not the future. It's more Nintendo. Nintendo's shouldn't be about the flashy stage shows. They're more cute and charming.
Honestly, I don't even think it has to do with the tone. I will revise my statement. It's not the future. It is the present. And everyone else who's doing stage shows are the past.
But how is
Nintendo, for one time in the last fucking 5 years, Nintendo is actually leading the charge on something.
But how will Phil Spencer change his T-shirts if he's not up on stage? I mean, there's a whole showmanship there. And
are we really still ragging on Phil Spencer? Has he not demonstrated enough goodwill that we can ease up on the Phil Spencer?
I'm not ragging on him. It's more good-natured joshing at this point. As I said earlier, hashtag I stand with Phil.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's hope it's not good-natured Josh Gadding, because we all know where you stand on that issue.
Punching him in the face. Much like I hate Jason Segel, I still want to punch him in the face.
Jason Segel's okay.
He's like a shaved Sasquatch without any of the charm.
Because we all know how charming a shaved Sasquatch would be. Hey. That just grassy aroma.
Hey man, I the summer after high school, I'll never forget it. Me, shaved Sasquatch in the woods. You learn something about yourself in a situation like that.
Mm-hmm. You learn how good you are at keeping a secret about having met a shaved Sasquatch, because I haven't heard about this until now.
I'm saving it for the History Channel. I've got a pitch for them.
You and Bobo.
Finding Bigfoot is not a History Channel show.
Oh, see,
you're thinking of Ancient Aliens.
Yeah, I was either thinking like Ancient Aliens, or I was thinking that, or Animal Planet. To me, they're all the same shit. It's just schlock, right? There is no informative television anymore.
It's pseudo-intellectual schlock, which I find the most enjoyable.
No, pseudo. It's not even pseudo-intellectual. No, it is just crap.
The cool thing about Ancient Aliens that I respect about it is they will go...
No one has ever started a sentence like that, ever.
No. What I like is they actually, like, go on, like, real, like, historical tangents, and then they just go, like, completely bonkers with it. So it's like, oh yeah, what? It's if you're a history buff, it's a great perversion of history. And I am a pervert, so it's a great fit.
Well, I'm sure you loved their Caligula episode.
Oh, God, I watched Caligula hoping that young Helen Mirren got down and dirty in it, and I was really upset that she stayed fully clothed. It was like, come on.
Yeah, really, come on. It goes against the entire point of casting Helen Mirren in anything, because as we all know, Helen Mirren will drop trowel at a dime's notice. Come on.
I want to see her red, if you know what I mean.
Ew. Hey, lads. Ew.
Hey, lads, yeah. So, anyway.
Call us on our hotline, 1-281-410-KONG.
We actually got a lot of calls this week because we have a big giveaway related to Conker.
Yeah, you might even say it's Conker's big giveaway.
You might, but I didn't.
Yeah, if you were interested in branding.
Yeah, but we're not that shallow and soulless that we have to brand everything. I don't care about our personal brand, Chad.
Yeah, neither do I. So at the end of the show, we're going to talk a bit more about Conker's big reunion, but at the end of the show, we're not interested in branding, but at that point, we're going to get into Doritos sponsored the Kongversation call block, where we'll give away all of our not live and reloaded, all of our big reunion codes.
Chad, you're stuck 10 years in the past, man.
Yeah, clearly. That's why I keep talking about the X-Files.
No, that's 20 years.
Oh, God. Oh, my God. How old am I?
Old enough that you remembered Camp Candy.
Yeah.
But not old enough that you forgot Camp Candy along with everything else. So there's still hope, Chad.
There's that sweet spot. Yeah.
The sweet spot, yeah. Where the benefit of experience without the effects of the elderly deterioration of your body. So
all right. So anyway, we'll get to the pets.com brings you the Kongversation hotline
pets.com
call block. Yeah.
Now, because to be fair, Mountain Dew sponsors the rest of the Kongversation. So
that's right.
Yeah. Anyway, so call the.
Well, hang on. If you're not doing the do, pause the show. Begin doing the do, and then resume.
Baja Blast is now available in stores for a limited time. So
that's true. Otherwise, you got to go to Taco Bell.
So stock up on Baja Blast for E3, which I've been doing, actually. I've bought about 20 bottles of Baja Blast, and I'm saving them for E3.
Hyle. You know as well as I do that Mountain Dew Code Red is the one true productive dew flavor.
No, I've got Code Red, in supply all the time. I'm not worried about Code Red. It's Baja Blast that I'm saving for E3 because I'm trying to send out all the good vibes into the universe to get us a Donkey Kong game.
I love the idea that you have a wine cellar stocked with different vintages of Code Red. and on the top shelf, the one you never touch is a 1999 DK64 Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Well, by now the soda has eaten through the bottle, and it's just
it's eroding away at all of the Mountain Dew kegs below it.
Yeah. Now, say what you... I mean, Code Red, I think a great year for Code Red is 2015. I mean, I don't know what they've done differently, but it's just... Anyway.
Yeah.
So...
I think what they've done differently is nostalgia.
How so?
They're just re-releasing the same thing.
Oh, okay. I thought...
But you have aged.
No, Code Red has stayed tasty. Like it's one of the few sodas that I still find tolerable. Like I can't do a lot of the like sweet. What are we talking about?
Who cares? Who cares?
Who cares? This show is a wreck.
It was funny. Someone suggested on the DK Vine forum, which, by the way, it's never been a better time to join.
Never been a better time to join. I was going to get to that point, but go ahead.
Someone suggested that we put time codes throughout the episode when we talk about specifically interesting things. So I think we should establish the beginning of our Mountain Dew conversation.
Mountain Dew and Camp Candy.
That's right. Camp Candy was at 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Mountain Dew began at the 12-minute and 3-second mark.
I liked, I might put a Camp Candy like a... I don't know, keyword search into this episode on YouTube. And I really hope that there's a Camp Candy fan who obsessively refreshes YouTube every day, hoping for more Camp Candy content.
Yeah, it was like a storyboard artist on Camp Candy, and no one believes him that the show actually existed. And he's just gone insane. Finally, proof!
And then he starts like rubbing and massaging his nipples.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, never been a better time to join the forum. And
that's right.
And when I said, E3 is getting exciting, I meant it. And if you have never experienced E3 at DK Vine, you are in for a treat. You need to join now because it is, I think it was Saf or somebody last year who equated it with a festival-like atmosphere. And that's really right. What it is.
Yeah, we all bust out our masks of the dead and we prance around under the auspices of Helmos the Dreadfully Evil.
Yeah, Helmos, he's our E3 correspondent. He's going to be back again this year. He's been living it up in Los Angeles for the last year.
One would hope, because, hey man, it's LA, and maybe we can tap into that lifestyle, but we've both been rejected by it, so who knows?
Well, I think Helmos is a little bit... he's more suited for Los Angeles, being an undead hell spawn. I think he fits in just fine.
Los Angeles is chiefly populated by Barrow Whites.
There's a reference very few people are going to get, except diehard Lord of the Rings fans who reject Peter Jackson's vision but enjoy collecting toys based on the books. Anyway, so
that means we got Lee Loveday.
Really?
Well, I know he's a huge fantasy fan, so I'd imagine, yeah.
Okay. I know he's a fan of dogs.
Okay.
He likes dogs.
Well, he has a dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, therefore, I would hope he likes dogs then.
We have a very limited insight into Lee Loveday's personality.
He's a man of mystery. He's like, he is... He's like James Bond in that he is... You know of him... Like, people know of him, they know the name, they know what he's accomplished, but they know very little because it's kept under wraps by MI6.
I will not rest until Idris Elba stars in the Lee Loveday biopic.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it time we had a black Lee Loveday?
About time.
We're having a black John Candy. Black Uncle Buck.
So rate us on iTunes. Subscribe to us if you enjoy whatever the hell the last 20 minutes have been.
Although, would a black John Candy be licorice flavored?
Follow us.
I don't think that would be very appealing to most people.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube, and Instagram. Go to dkvine.com/ any of those things, and it'll forward you right along to the respective social media outlet.
I mean, oh my God, new content on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram every day.
Yeah, literally, like, we are not one of those outlets. We're not
one of those outlet malls that sells you raincoats.
Yeah, right. If you want bulk De Beers rings, don't come to us. No. Every one of our social media venues.
We have bulk De Bears, as in there's 14 brothers.
Yeah, the brothers bears.
Not to even mention the banjo ones. I mean, good Lord.
Right. And we've muzzled George Wendt to keep it limited.
We keep George Wendt muzzled at all times.
Such is our fetish. We have original content on a daily basis on Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, YouTube. Well, not YouTube. Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. So subscribe to all of those, and you're not really going to double dip. Like, we try and mix it up as much as possible.
And here's the thing. Here's the catch. We actually stay on topic on our social media networks. So.
Right. Yeah, we don't talk about George Wendt nearly enough.
Well, I don't know, Chad. Maybe you do on Twitter. I mean, Twitter's more shooting from the hip, so I'm sure if you ever have any George Wendt-related insights, you're going to share them on our Twitter.
Yeah, well, clearly you're not familiar with #Wendt Wednesdays.
John Ratzenberger just seethes with rage.
He's just collecting Pixar residual checks. He's fine.
Yeah,
so tell your friends about the show if you enjoy it. That's really word of mouth is the best way we can possibly continue this thing.
If you were an animator on Camp Candy, tell your fellow animators, assuming there's more than just one.
Right.
Yeah.
So we'll get to Conker's big giveaway later on in the show, but there was a new Conker game released.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, it really deserves a lot more attention than it's been getting.
Yeah, it's kind of... I don't know how it's doing. I don't know. I'm not up on Project Spark download. You know, I assume it's gotten more interest than anything else generated from Project Spark.
Okay, so if you don't have your finger on the pulse of that community, why would you assume that? Because it seems like Project Spark is a pretty versatile platform.
It is. But I mean, bringing people from the outside to Project Spark,
okay.
I would imagine it's made more waves than just Project Spark itself. I mean, it brought us into Project Spark. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean,
I went into a GameStop yesterday. Yesterday being Wednesday, and
my condolences.
And I was kind of the only one in there, and I was pounced on by the employee who was very, very eager to sell me things. And
as they are wont to do at GameStop.
You know, he asked me what consoles I had, and I said Wii U and Xbox One. And after he tried,
did he thank you for walking into GameStop where you can buy, trade, and sell used games, accessories, and controllers? And would you like to reserve a copy of a game that you've never heard of and or subscribe to Game Informer magazine?
No, I got out of there before that all went down. But okay. he asked me what systems I had. I said Wii U, Xbox One. He sensed I was a Nintendo guy, so he started to try to talk Nintendo with me.
Isn't that adorable? When I get that too. When I have gone to GameStop and I went there to get like a Diddy Kong amiibo, and like they are like they're keyed into the Sony Microsoft gamer. So when they recognize that a Nintendo person has walked in the doors, they take on this condescending attitude.
Oh no, he was excited that I was a Nintendo guy.
Oh, okay.
But then he wanted to talk Smash Brothers with me. He wanted to talk I was just like, yeah, this new Smash Brothers didn't really do much for me, and it was like he was deflated. And then he was like, well, what games do you have? And I was like, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. And he was like, oh, I haven't played that one. And I was like, I'm done with you, sir. He said, I heard that was really challenging. I was like, yes, it is masterclass platforming.
Yeah.
Kongversation. And anyway, my point was when he switched gears, because he could tell for some reason he was getting dead ends with Nintendo conversations, not really realizing I was a Donkey Kong zealot.
Yeah, and he's looking at you and seeing a sales bonus go out the window.
So he's tried to switch to Xbox One. What games do I have for Xbox One? I said, sure. I just have Project Spark.
Well, surely you've got a real game.
Well, and he was like, Project Spark. I don't. Isn't that an MMO? So this GameStop employee, and I saw the starter pack, the Project Spark starter pack on the wall. He didn't know anything about the game, and this is a GameStop employee who should be well versed in what the games are. So
I mean, now
I don't know what the cultural penetration of Project Spark is. And that's my only real world anecdote as far as like encountering discussion about it in the wild, and it was a fruitless endeavor.
Mm-hmm. So you're basing the public consciousness on this one GameStop employee.
That's how journalism works, Chad.
Okay, that works for me.
Okay. So anyway, and I also wanted to share that experience. If you're listening, sir, I apologize for calling you out. You seem like you seem like a nice individual, and I apologize for shaming you for not playing Tropical Freeze.
Shaming. I'm sure he's getting around to it now.
He also tried to sell me the new Call of... It was like a Hail Mary pass. He tried to get me to reserve the new Call of Duty, and I was just like... No,
that's actually a nervous tick that GameStop employees have. There's always a new Call of Duty out, so like that's like it's like Robert Durst burping when he realizes he's been caught. You know, that's just what they do when they think they're not going to make a sale.
Wow, you're so eager to make the Jinx references now.
It just came up naturally, I think.
Yeah, I want to make Fred Durst references. You know what? My biscuit has been limp since they released their last album.
Was it worth it?
No, it really wasn't.
No, it wasn't at all.
I want to get back to the John Candy references because that made me feel hollow inside.
Well, let's move past John Candy a little bit forward.
He was a large man. It takes a while to move past him.
And talk about Big Reunion.
All right. So, Big Reunion, obviously we've touched upon the basic plot on this show before, but now let's be upfront about what our experience with Big Reunion was. I downloaded it I want to say the day of, but that's not true because it was a couple days after because I didn't have time to set up my Xbox One until the Sunday after it came out, so I downloaded it then. And so I played through the entire thing by this point. The entire first episode, because this is in intervals. We know that there's going to be more episodes coming, probably 5, but I don't know. That's just hypothetical.
And I spent all my disposable income for the next few months on a 3D platformer Rarevival, so I watched the playthrough on YouTube.
Which is still a valid way to experience video games in this day and age.
I honestly, it was driving me up a wall because, while I did see the whole thing beginning to end, it is definitely not the way. Like I kept watching the guy go through that grassy area where the cock and plucker exists.
And you wanted to explore.
I wanted to run around. It's so grassy and there's trees and stuff.
You can jump on the cock and plucker. You can work your way up top.
Oh my God! I want to jump on the cock and plucker. I want to jump on Birdie. I want to like hit Birdie with a frying pan again and make him take out some helium.
Out of context, if anybody's walking on the street past your window and they hear somebody screaming, "I want to jump on the cock and plucker," they're going to think there's some things going on in your apartment.
Everyone in Brooklyn is desensitized to the noises they hear from people's windows.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Someone jumping on the cock and plucker is old hat by this point. So I vehemently regret the fact that I cannot afford an Xbox One currently, but
or you don't have any Windows capable computing device.
I'm a Mac guy. Sorry,
you're a Mac guy. Yeah, and how's that paying off for you now, Mr. Rare Fan, Mr. Conker Lover?
Well, before the show, we established the fact that I have not rebooted my computer in about 3 months, so it's doing just fine, thanks.
Yeah, you also haven't played Big Reunion, so I don't know. I don't know.
You got me there, Russell. You got me there.
I mean, I would gladly reboot my computer every hour if it meant more Conker content, so...
Well, as long as you can save.
Well, I mean... save my computer.
Game.
Oh, the game. Well, you can't save the game.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get into that.
We'll get into it. Controversial.
No, it's not controversial.
No, not at all. It's fine.
We had Brian Perry on the show from Team Dakota. He was on 2 weeks ago.
So we are avowed sellouts.
Yeah, we have to be biased with our opinions because we have to make these industry connections and we have to retain them.
Yeah, because DK Vine is so profitable. We're definitely not hemorrhaging money on server costs right now.
Oh, then we'll just have a new silver backer initiative, so it's fine. Anyway, let's talk about what Big Reunion adds to the canon of Conker, because it's actually pretty substantial, even if it definitely skirts some of the big issues for the best. So basically, Big Reunion takes place 10 years to the day of Bad Fur Day.
To the day. Ooh.
Well, or I guess that's not really specific. Conker just says it's been 10 years and there's a reunion, so it could take place the week of, the month of. I don't know, but
I would imagine it's. I mean, Conker's Bad Fur Day came out in the spring, so
March of 2001.
Yeah, so we could reliably say 2011-ish. Spring 2011.
March 2011-ish. I'm willing to go that far.
Okay, well, yeah, considering most of the games that we say that unless otherwise indicated, they take place when they came out. So it adds up.
This was a question we asked Brian when he was on the show, and he kind of... He started to give us a wishy-washy answer that we fought hard against.
You might even say he parried our question.
Parallel?
He became a parallel bird in relation to our question.
That's awesome. I'm okay with that. Man, what a cool guy. He can do that.
Strangely, I am too. That means he's going to collect that string of bananas I can't reach.
I know, and then I hope we can get him to the no animal sign so we can get that balloon.
He's gonna explode and turn into a bonus barrel. I'm sorry, Brian. You're a very nice person.
Well, I think saying he's going to explode and turn into an item is the highest compliment we can pay, I guess.
So continue.
This is the Kongversation, Chad.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you expect?
It's a very clever pun.
So anyway, I think unambiguously, if you play the game, it takes place March 2011. There's no way to get around it, especially because with the Rare-owned characters, the Microsoft-owned Rare characters, I guess, they definitely are aging in real time. Banjo-Kazooie, there's reference to the passage of time in like each of their sequels at this point. So, Conker turned 21 right around the time of Bad Fur Day. Like this continues.
Well, yeah, and that's canon, definitely. I mean, we have an age for Conker. So in this game...
Banjo-Tooie, they specified 2 years have passed, and Nuts and Bolts, they've gotten fat because of inactivity.
So what do you reckon, Hyle? I mean, Conker is the same age as you now in this game.
Well, he was the age of me in 2000.
No, he wasn't, because we're subtracting 5 years. So you're playing a game at 31 where Conker is the same age.
Oh, okay. Well,
interesting. Do you feel like you're in the same place as this naked squirrel?
I've never had a human being shoved up my ass. So, no.
Not even a tiny one?
Well, okay. So let's talk about the story. All right. So 10 years later, in the same month, we'll say 2011, there's a reunion, and it's kind of left vague who the reunion entails, because Conker is eager to meet them, but it's at the Cock and Plucker. So Conker decides to celebrate the fact that there's going to be a reunion the night before the reunion, and he wakes up, he blacks out drunk, wakes up with a hangover, naked, meaning he doesn't have his shirt on,
which I love. That all of a sudden he needs a sensor bar, which is I want to say that was a joke from like a Donald Duck cartoon. But
really?
It's still...
It seems Donald Duck-esque.
It's still valid humor.
Yeah, and it's clever. I like that the humor definitely didn't suffer, even despite the fact that it was Team Dakota doing the writing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, okay.
No. I laughed quite a few times in this game.
No. Certainly overall, there is... some great Conker-esque dialogue.
The thing is, I laughed, and I thought I was past the immature style of Conker humor. I thought I wanted something like the nighttime portions of the game that were a little bit more moodier and mature. I laughed quite a bit at some of the immature stuff in this game. So I don't know. Maybe I'm a hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite, yeah.
Of course, yeah, we all are, aren't we? That's just part of the human condition.
Because he wakes up from this drunken... night of revelry, naked, with a bunch of the Project Spark red squirrels. He's like wakes up in a pile of them.
Yeah,
and
they all scurry.
No, they stay passed out.
Oh, I thought they okay.
No,
yeah,
they stay passed out.
Well, clearly I've only watched this on YouTube.
Right, and it's so the implication is he had a pansexual orgy with these red squirrels.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible to determine their sex, but there has to be a male or two mixed in there, right?
Yes, and he pulled a Richard Gere with one of them.
Yeah, so he farts at one point, and one of them shoots out of his ass and scurries away. That's the one that scurries away.
I think when something exits your anus, it's no longer a fart. He shits out a squirrel.
He shats out a squirrel, and he sharts a squirrel.
Yes.
So
sure.
yeah. I'm disappointed there wasn't an explicit Richard Gere reference, but I guess he could get litigious if that's in a Microsoft produced video game. So
I don't think he's a Scientologist, is he?
No, he's a Buddhist, actually.
Oh, really?
I learned that from The Simpsons.
Okay.
The episode where it was in one of the later crappy seasons.
Was it where Lisa becomes a Buddhist?
Yes,
and Richard Gere is on top of the Quickie Mart?
No. Richard Gere is actually in the Springfield Buddhist Temple, because why not?
Why not? Well, I'm sure playing himself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Because, of course, post season 9, it's impossible for a celebrity to play a character.
Oh, yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah. Anyway, so he wakes up and he has to get to the Cock and Plucker, and yada yada yada. He gets there and he's not allowed in the Cock and Plucker because he has a $300 tap. Now, the character who blocks your entrance to the Cock and Plucker and who helps you get your clothes back on and reintroduces you to context sensitive pads and whatnot is Birdie the Scarecrow, who is besides Conker the only non-drone returning character so far in Big Reunion. And that's an important distinction to make, because there is more Conker content coming.
Hang on. Hasn't it been established that Faho may be a character and the Key also a character?
They're drones, though, because there's multiple keys and there are multiple Fahos because they're all locked away in this game.
Okay.
And Conker has to collect $300. So
all right. So it's funny. In Conker's Bad Fur Day, there was only one key, so we could have reasonably assumed it was a character. But now we are learning that it was indeed a drone.
Yeah. So that establishes that to the canon.
Well, it's a good thing we never made a character entry for the Key.
I know, we would have been red in the face.
Yeah, we were very prescient.
The integrity of DK Vine would have been out the window.
The integrity of DK Vine. I'm trying to say that Yooka-Laylee is a DKU game based on the back of a tweet.
To be fair, you got some pushback for that.
Yeah, but to be fair, I was right.
That debate is ongoing, and it's a healthy debate to have.
Fair enough.
You respect the process, Chad.
All right.
Respect the process. You're not Jesus Christ coming in here with your DKU proclamations.
What?
Like Jesus does in the Bible.
That's right. Jesus really wants to cover Yooka-Laylee.
You know, he's been waiting 2,000 years for Rare to make a good game again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why so many Renaissance painters really fixated on Christ.
Yeah, Jesus was a founding member of Operation Rarefall. I'm just kidding. If anybody from Rare is listening to this, that was a sarcasm. I love you guys.
What are you talking?
I said Jesus has been waiting 2,000 years to make a good game again, for Rare to make a good game again, and we know that's not true because Rare has made plenty of good games in the last 2,000 years.
See, this is where we start to fall apart, where you try and cover up your very clear and present comedy to be inoffensive.
Yeah, that's the DK Vine way now. We're toothless.
That's exactly right. There's no reason to listen to us. We have nothing interesting to say.
We just glad hand with the celebrity game designers of our youth.
Yeah, we're just going to regurgitate press releases until people give us things to give away so that we can spin it into a perpetual cycle of not making money.
Like the Klaatu song says, you got to sell out, you know?
Yeah, you've got to sell out.
Yeah.
Which was the next line in that song.
Nobody knows Klaatu but us and Klaatu themselves.
So, Conker's Big Reunion.
And Paul McCartney, who is a secret member of Klaatu.
Let's establish the second time code where we start talking about Conker's Big Reunion.
All right. No, I thought it was established. Somebody suggested on the forum that we only have time codes for the tangents and leave everything else up in the air.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, okay.
That sounds like another great way to grow our audience.
So, Birdie is, back before Big Reunion, when you would have been asked who are the most important Conker characters, you would have said Conker, obviously.
Greg, certainly.
Well, Barry, but she died. So
honestly, when you start playing Conker's Bad Fur Day, especially, she's not even really the whole point of the game. Like, she sort of becomes important later, but as you're moving through the game, Conker just wants to get home. Like, he has no awareness that Barry was even kidnapped.
Right. But Barry is still... Once upon a time, Barry would have been playable in what was 12 Tales.
Yeah.
So she kind of got crystalled a little bit, meaning that her role in the game was removed before launch.
Yeah. And she is an exercise fanatic, so it's not too far to imagine someone running on the treadmill dressed as Barry.
You know what? I seriously want somebody to make that video now. So if you can send that to submit at dkvine.com.
Cosplay as Barry from either Conker's Pocket Tales or Bad Fur Day.
Well,
and film yourself running on a treadmill.
She wore pants, in Bad Fur Day. So yeah. She had booty shorts.
She had hot pants. Yeah.
Yeah. So preferably that one, because she didn't wear pants in Pocket Tales, and I don't want to be on any sex offender registry.
Oh. Yeah, we should point out, don't send us videos of yourself unless you're not a minor. Let's just get that out of the way. But
right. If you remember Camp Candy, please send us videos.
And if you have watched Camp Candy and actually enjoy it, do not send us videos, because you are likely an 8-year-old.
Yes. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
If you enjoy Camp Candy from its original run, send us a video of yourself running on a treadmill dressed as Barry from either Conker's Pocket Tales or Conker's Bad Fur Day.
But if you are from Conker's Pocket Tales, we still request that you wear panties.
Well, not necessarily. Hey, if you're of age, you can do whatever you want dressed as Barry running on a treadmill and sending us a video of yourself.
Oh, yeah, this is the libertarian viewpoints of Chad McCanna.
Thank you. That's right. But if you watch Camp Candy and enjoy it on a genuine and not nostalgia-based sense, do not, because you are likely a minor.
So Birdie, my point about Birdie was, I would have said like after Barry, but she died, so she's kind of off the table. Greg was the most important secondary Conker character. Of which there were very few. You could make the case for Rodent. You could make the case for Frankie.
To me, it's Greg, not only because he does show up twice in the game. Once the first time you die, and then again as he gives you the shotgun. But I would say Greg represents larger implications about the Conker world. And not even the Conker world, the Conker multiverse.
The Donkey Kong universe in general.
Yeah. I mean, basically, it has been revealed that there is an afterlife and there are certain rules governing it. Toasty. So, I think that is really Greg's legacy.
Especially when you factor in Grab by the Ghoulies, that there's a separate Grim Reaper for animals, who's probably Greg, and then there's a Grim Reaper for humans, which is the Reaper from Ghoulies.
Yeah, because Cooper is clearly a human.
Clearly. He's not a shaved Sasquatch.
I'm sorry. I know it's controversial, but I think there's no other way to interpret Cooper than saying he is a human.
We should go to all Wikipedia entries for Ghoulies, including the Ghouliespedia, which does exist.
Yeah.
And remove all references to Cooper being human, because there's nothing in the game that cements that. It's all hearsay. It's fanon at best.
A bunch of assumptions that I don't think Rare ever intended us to make.
Goddamn DK Vine coming in with their fanon and trying to push it on people.
Cooper from off of Grab by the Ghoulies is a human. Way to go, DK Vine. Now everyone thinks that. It's just your bullshit fanon.
So, but with Big Reunion, I'm trying to get us back on track.
Yep.
With Big Reunion, I think Birdie really skyrockets up to the second most important Conker character.
Yeah, and I don't dislike that. I think it's a great role for him.
Yeah.
He much like Greg, he appeared multiple times throughout Conker's Bad Fur Day.
3 times, right?
I'm thinking twice.
Didn't he appear in front of the Cock and Plucker near the
oh, well, at the very, very beginning.
Beginning, and then he appears when you wake up in the garden.
Before the game starts. I mean,
then he appears one other time when you're in Windy.
He gives you the slingshot.
Yeah, so, 3 times.
Okay, I wasn't counting the loading screen in my 2. But yes, I guess technically Conker stumbling into the Cock and Plucker is part of the game because that's where the whole thing starts. So
that's important too for his role in this game
because that's where he's planted.
Well, after you get out of what passes for the training area in Big Reunion, where you relearn the helicopter spin and you learn about context-sensitive pads.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, there's a great line where Conker mentions that an animation is missing.
The crouch.
Yeah. He says that he misplaced that animation, which is just a great little bit of meta humor that I think is essential for something like Conker.
Right.
So after you get out of that, you get to the Cock and Plucker. Mm-hmm. And I love that this game, it takes place in the area around the Cock and Plucker, which we actually never saw in Bad Fur Day, because you get the sense that the Cock and Plucker is Conker's favorite watering hole before Bad Fur Day.
Yeah.
But yet Bad Fur Day is an area of Willow Woods, which, by the way, I'm aware that Willow Woods is only referred to as such in Pocket Tales, but
that's what it's called.
It's what it's called.
Everyone knows that.
Well, everyone with DK Vine knows that. They actually don't know that on the Conkerpedia.
What the fuck are we going to call it then? Wendy?
Yeah, that's not a name.
No, that's a hamburger chain.
And that's also a song by The Association.
I'm sure it is.
No, they played it in Breaking Bad.
Okay.
For the Wendy montage.
I'm not disagreeing. Oh wait, was Wendy the prostitute?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the montage where she's sucking a lot of dick and rinsing out her mouth with root beer.
Conker's Big Reunion.
Conker's Big Reunion. So it takes place in the area around the Cock and Plucker.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if I made this point on a show yet or not, but this has to be the area between the area of Willow Woods seen in Pocket Tales and the area of Willow Woods seen in Bad Fur Day.
So it makes sense that this is new territory. They're not disrupting any geographic canon.
No. This is really the major thing that it adds to the canon, what the area around the Cock and Plucker looks like. And I love that from a sense of logic. Pocket Tales was rated E for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Bad Fur Day was rated M for mature. So what's the area in between those two? Rated T for teen.
That's very meta.
I'm sure that was intended by
right.
Team Dakota, who didn't even know what it was going to be rated up until like a week or two before its release.
I hope they're listening and giving themselves a pat on the back for that one.
Yeah. So Birdie appears from the Cock and Plucker and won't let Conker in for the reunion because he has to pay. He has a $300 tab that he needs to pay.
Yeah.
Which
you need pay tab. Yeah.
Yeah. So is Birdie the bouncer for the Cock and Plucker?
That's an interesting idea. I think there's no real reason for him to be restricting access unless he was a bouncer.
Now, Birdie is kind of Conker's spirit guide in this game in that he appears before every section and explains to you what's going on. He provides exposition, so maybe he's just being really helpful to Conker, reminding him, hey, you can't get back in there without paying the tab.
I think whatever happened to Conker, we don't know if he's still the king.
And that's also an important point I was going to get to. If he was king, you think he could afford a $300 bar tab?
Yeah. So presumably he's not, but we don't know for sure. They're leaving it open,
and they do leave it open. Like nothing about him being king is referenced except for the loading screen where it says it's been 10 years since Conker became king of all the land.
Right.
So they're leaving it open in case Rare wants to come in or Chris Seaver wants to come in and make a follow-up to Bad Fur Day that takes place immediately after Bad Fur Day or sometime in the shortly thereafter. And I like that. So nothing in canon is trampled. Nothing is dismissed. Nothing is confirmed as far as what Conker's been up to.
And Brian said that was an intentional decision, that they really don't want to get too specific that it leaves it open.
But they play it really well, too, so you're not really thinking about it. They're like, wait, what's going on with Conker? You can bring your own interpretations to it, and nothing is disrupted.
Yeah.
I personally think he's still the king. I think that he's just a very just king, and he will not use any treasury funds to pay for his bar tab. Unlike, because Chris Seaver's idea for Other Bad Day was that Conker had depleted the funds for his, I guess, alcohol habit, and like for hookers and prostitutes and strippers and whatnot. But that never really sat right with me. That didn't really feel authentic to the character following Bad Fur Day.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think he's been deposed, but what I do like is that they leave it completely open to interpretation.
Right. Yeah. I you know what? I will say Conker's characterization in this game is, I think, spot on. Mm-hmm. Especially for 10 years after Bad Fur Day, he's not going to be as morose as he was at the very end of that game. I think that would be an easy trap to fall into. Yeah.
But he's a little weary, though. You know,
he's weary, and he's also not the complete asswipe he was in that game either. You know, he's matured a bit, or maybe I'm just reading too much into it.
I think you might be reading quite well. Well, let's talk about the actual content of the game.
Okay. So, basically what happens is Birdie hops off and he drops $100, much like what happened in Bad Fur Day. So you grab the $100, but then teddies pop out and attack you and steal the money. And then Birdie reappears and says, you know, you can get money from, or no, Birdie doesn't appear, but Conker rationales that he has to get money somehow, and he has to do it the old-fashioned way. And then, so there's 3 main areas of the game so far,
right?
And each one represents an opportunity to get $100 to get the $300 to pay your bar tab. Mm-hmm. So very simple plot, but it works for what this is. And let's talk about the teddies a little bit.
Okay. You, from a plot standpoint, or the missions involving teddies?
Let's do plot first, because this has been a point of contention among some fans.
Sure.
That the teddies are back, in that they think that after the end of It's War, that the teddies should have been completely eradicated.
Well, we know from Live and Reloaded that there's a certain segment of, like, robo-teddies that exist to this day, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's always ambiguous what the teddies were. I think, are they like... I mean, they're obviously living stuffed bears, but are they mechanical in nature? Are they biological?
No, that's the thing. They're not. I never read them as living. I thought that they were robots with a stuffing exoskeleton.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
There's cloning involved in this game.
Oh, okay.
So I think they're their own thing. They're teddies. They're neither biological. They're neither mechanical.
No, I don't accept that. We need to. You can't just say they're not mechanical or biological. These are not the final 5 Cylons. All right, they're
Cylons. That's what they are.
It's in the fracking brewery. either they are robots with a flesh exoskeleton, a la the T-800. Or they are completely robotic and can appear as stuffing, a la the T-1000. But
why do they have to be Terminators? Why can't they just be Cylons?
And
we learn that Willow Woods is actually prehistoric Africa.
Earth.
I mean, we say it's off the coast of Africa anyway, so, you know.
Yeah. Well, that explains everyone's favorite Conker character, Ron Moore. He's walking around making cameo appearances no one wanted.
Was he a celebrity squirrel, too?
Yeah. He was... Yeah, whatever.
Way to commit to the bit.
Yeah, I was going to try and make some, like, obscure Ron Moore reference, but I was like, no one's really going to care about this.
Yeah, you could really make a deep Space Nine reference there.
Yep. I was honestly, what I was about to go for was but no one in that video cared about the Cardassian conflict. And I realized, in my head, I had an inner monologue that said, no one is going to give a shit about this bit abort. And I aborted, but now I don't think I should have.
Yeah, nowadays when you talk about the Kardashians, people would bring up Bruce Jenner's transition.
Yeah, and no one wants to see a picture of Conker spurting champagne onto a glass that he's holding up on his ass.
Yeah, he would break the internet.
Jesus Christ. I don't know what we were fucking talking about, man. I can't even trace back the tangents anymore. We're beyond the pale.
Let's go back in time. Let's go back. So the teddies. I don't think we're going to resolve this debate because clearly we have some fundamental differences with our interpretations of the teddies.
Yeah.
And before Big Reunion, I would have agreed with you. They're robots, but
yeah. I don't see any reason to introduce the notion of some third state of being, like not robot, not human. Or
okay, but there's cloning involved, so there's some biological components.
That's fine. That's fine. But if so maybe the Live and Reloaded teddies were robots, and these ones are some sort of maybe there's some sort of like soup of biologic material that is contained within a burlap wrapping, and that's why they have to look like burlap teddies, because there's no structural integrity to whatever stuff is inside of them. That greenish, that yellow green stuff that spurts out when you shoot them. Maybe that's what is inside the burlap sack. Maybe that's what's being cloned. I'm just saying, let's not say they're neither robot nor living.
Okay.
They're clearly either one of those two things.
I think they're living. That's
okay.
Just me.
That's fine. But then let's say there's some sort of biological thing that's held together by burlap.
Look, man, I'm not a biologist.
Clearly, neither am I.
I don't know what I'm talking about. I do know that I enjoy games with evil teddy bear Nazi analogs, and I think that makes me an expert. An expert on all things.
Yeah, as much as anyone could be.
Right.
So all right. Anyway. Teddies are still around. They're brewing beer. They're cutting logs.
Yeah. Well, the best comparison I've heard made to them is that they're like the dialects in Doctor Who, where you
the dialects in Doctor Who, they're mostly British.
Well, yeah, but actually they're speaking Gallifreyan. No. Daleks. I'm sorry.
Daleks, right?
Daleks. Yeah, it's like it's one of those things where it's like Smaug, where you want to say one thing, but they insist on something else, and it just your brain can't accept it if you're not a hardcore fan.
I would honestly really like to hear Ian McKellen say the word Dalek. He brings such a gravitas to Smaug.
It's so fun to say too. Once you get the hang of saying it,
Smaug. And you can look like like the much more learned person among your nerd friends when they're talking about the desolation of smog. You're like, don't you mean the desolation of Smaug?
And you said those movies didn't contribute anything.
That's true.
Clearly.
They at least normalize the pronunciation of Smaug.
I know. So, being a resident of LA for even a short time, I was trained to say smog.
Yeah.
Now I know better. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, you've moved to Shanghai and learned the errors of your ways.
Much like the Daleks from Doctor Who.
Daleks. I just keep hearing like dowel rod, like the Daleks.
Well, they're adept at finding water.
Just pronounce it like Matt Smith.
Is that what he says when he's on fire?
That's just what Matt Smith sounds like.
Oh, so you joined the anti-Matt Smith brigade?
No, I don't care. I really don't.
Yeah, I just know you were just in it for the leggy redhead, and once she left, you were done.
Honestly, kinda, yeah. I sort of. I mean, Matt Smith was my first.
You know, there's porn, right? There's porn on the internet.
Yeah, but not Karen Gillan porn.
She was nude in a movie.
Okay,
you saw her butt.
Here's the thing. My first Doctor was Matt Smith. I mean, I had seen some David Tennant and Eccleston episodes, but my first continuous Doctor was Matt Smith. I started watching and I really got into it, especially the Vincent van Gogh episode. Speaking of weird pronunciations that are apparently correct, Smaug and Van Gogh.
I heard Bill Nye was in that episode, and I was mistaken.
There was very little science.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was like an uncredited cameo. Anyway, yeah. I really enjoyed that, and as soon as Matt Smith was, well, no, really, as soon as Amy and Rory were done with the show and Clara started coming on, even during Matt Smith's tenure, I kind of realized I didn't give a shit. So I sort of have come to the conclusion that I only care about Doctor Who as much as I care about the companion. Because the Doctor...
But you haven't given a lot of the older companions a chance either.
That's true, but...
Like, I think you would like Donna.
Yeah, but Donna's not a sexy redhead, is she?
She's a redhead.
Oh, really?
Well, she's Catherine Tate.
Oh, it's Catherine Tate. Oh, see, I didn't know which one was Donna.
I'm saying you would like her, and not as I think objectification.
Catherine Tate's a sexy redhead.
Okay.
Yeah. But no, not from an objectification point of view.
She was a good character, is what I'm saying.
That's fine.
Good Lord, Chad. Why are we talking about Doctor Who? My point was, much like the Daleks, you can eradicate the Teddies, but they'll always find a way. So long as one survives, they'll find a way to come back.
Okay.
Which you would understand more if you watch the David Tennant episodes, because that's more in line with what happened to them there. But
exterminate.
Was that a Teddy Dalek?
That's right. That's what I was going for there.
So, anyway, since the events of Bad Fur Day, the Teddies have started to come back into Willow Woods, but they've on the surface they've gone legit in that they've opened up a brewery, and which Conker is pleased about. Like, even though he had that bloody war with them, hey, beer. So he goes into the brewery, and there's 3 missions. I guess we should say.
Yeah.
The brewery. There's a.
It's a shoot 'em up. Well, no. Well, let's start with the start and take it away. His name is Simpson Bartholomew J. That's Bart with an R and a capital B, then Simp plus S-O-N. That's me. What? No one knows how to do the Bartman? Am I alone here?
I prefer to do the Urkel.
You and nobody else.
Oh, yeah.
The Urkel is the poor man's Bartman.
The problem is every time somebody does the Urkel, they get drunk and they fall off a roof.
What?
The episode of Family Matters. Anyway, so...
All right.
No, there's 3 main sections of episode 1. Mm-hmm. There's the pod racing. No, there's the brewery. This
is why we can't ever stay on topic.
I know, right? The log cutting section, I guess you could call it, where the Teddies are cutting down trees, and then there's the laboratory.
That's not the log cutting I was thinking of.
Yeah, poop joke. Mm-hmm. So, and then there's the Teddies laboratory. So I play them in that order. I don't know what order the walkthrough you've used.
I didn't realize that it was basically just a central hub that you could approach in any order.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the one that I saw, it was the shootout followed by the boss fight. Second was the brewery, and then third was the cock and plucker.
You didn't see the stealth section?
Oh yeah, I thought that was leading up to the brewery.
No.
Oh, it was completely separate?
You could play these in any order.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did see the stealth. For some reason in my mind, I thought the geography was like the stealth allowed you to sneak into the brewery, but whatever.
No. And this would be apparent to you if you actually played the game.
Well, yeah, okay, well, that's fine. I mean, it's not a criticism of it that you can play it in any order. But here's one pseudo-criticism. And mind you, I say this knowing that I'm speaking about a game that was developed using a game creation utility and not programmed from the ground up, and also that it was produced in a very quick turnaround, and it was all of those things. The one bit about this that I don't think holds up to the original, and this is something that perhaps in the next episode they could rectify, is that it did feel so disjointed and ultimately inconsequential. It doesn't. You're just collecting 3 $100 bills.
Yeah.
So in my mind, and then,
but this is also the first. There's an escalation that this game sets up. That this episode sets up.
Okay. No, I'm not talking about point A to point B. I'm talking about all the little points between point A and point B. Let's talk about what happened within the game, not what it's setting up. So if you really look at what this game was, in my mind, what I saw was Project Spark's developers saying, oh, there's this really cool gameplay mechanic that we could create within Project Spark. Let's put Conker in there and see if it works. And that to me, it was basically a bunch of mini games that were strung together, and they thought enough and had enough passion about the Conker series to actually give them a cohesive plot. So I'm not trying to knock it. Saying that it's a minigame collection is not a pejorative. But what I would like to see from a future episode would be a little bit more of a narrative, because Conker's Bad Fur Day was fairly linear, and what this was just, here's a bunch of shit to do, and then at the end, we're going to wrap it up. So, again, it's a very light criticism, because I fucking love that they thought enough to actually give it some narrative weight. I just wish that there was a little bit more of a sense of action and consequence as you progress through the chapter.
Yeah, this is also just the first hour of a longer game, too. I know it's hard to criticize something that we don't know how the rest of it. It's like playing a game for an hour and then judging it as a whole.
Sure.
This is a unique experience for us because this is the first episodic Donkey Kong Universe game.
Right.
So I understand what you're saying, but also I never felt like it was a collection of mini games. I felt like there was a variety there, to be sure, but I never felt like it was, as you say in the notes here, Conker's Bad Fur Day missions.
Yeah, it sort of reminded me of like the difference between Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge and Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge Missions, where Missions was sort of the mini games sort of kind of loosely strung together. I feel like the reason that I was thinking that way is that it, usually like a game like Conker, obviously the default mechanic is the platforming. In this one, it sort of seemed 50-50 normal platforming versus other stuff. Either he's drunk, stumbling and peeing, or he's under a barrel.
Yeah, that was in Bad Fur Day too, though.
But sparingly.
And this was in there sparingly too.
Well, hang on. What I'm talking about is overall percentage of gameplay time. And I watched a playthrough that took about 45 minutes, maybe an hour. And of that time, I'd say not even 50% was the run jump platforming, which is not in and of itself a bad thing. But what I'm saying is you sort of expect there to be a foundation of gameplay that is then tweaked. But it felt like watching it, like all of a sudden, now the game has become this third-person shooter. And now the game, it was just, there was nothing to hang my hat on.
Okay, and I think maybe you would feel differently if you played it.
No, and I am pretty sure that I would feel that way because
it doesn't feel, you don't see the seams if you're playing it. I think if you're watching it as a detached observer,
right,
then yeah, absolutely.
And I can definitely understand where I'm probably skewing what I'm judging, and saying there's not enough time spent on platforming, because if I had been in control of that controller, I would have been running and jumping over every nook and cranny in the entire outer cock and plucker area before even starting a mission.
Oh yeah, it probably took me 2 hours to complete this because I was having so much fun exploring.
I would have just been running in a circle and watching Conker's tail get animated.
Yeah, and I think that's an essential part of the experience that gets lost with speed running and whatnot. It's that initial exploration and discovery. And
so basically, the entire last 10 minutes completely ignore what I just said.
Okay. Well, no, I mean, I think you brought up some points about what Big Reunion is versus what it's not.
Right.
And you shouldn't go into this game expecting Conker's Bad Fur Day 2 or Conker's Other Day or Other Bad Day or whatever the hell it's called.
There are some realistic limitations on what even could be done with this game.
And some fans really have a problem with that, accepting that. I remember when Grunty's Revenge came out, and people were throwing a shit fit because it essentially wasn't Banjo 3. And I think maybe this is a generational thing where because we came up cold. We came up in the initial NES into SNES era,
the post-apocalyptic NES era.
Yeah, with the Game Boy. We had the old black and white brick Game Boy,
the DMG as they call it.
Because of that, we're used to having iterations of games of entries in game series that are scaled down. And we're fine with that because we understand that's what it is. Like, not everything has to be the big blockbuster entry in the franchise.
And there are certain compromises you make when you get a quote-unquote scaled-down version.
Yeah, and considering that Conker as a franchise was dead, that we never thought we were going to get this game.
Right.
I'm more than happy with it. But
yeah, no, absolutely. And I don't want you to take me wrong that I'm trying to shit on this game. I know that they are going to be making more of these, and I am so happy for that fact. I feel like there are areas that they could improve on top of what is an unreasonably strong beginning.
Yeah, and
like there are so many more ways they could have just outright fucked this thing up.
They didn't. They didn't, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm so happy that I'm able to nitpick. I think that's the takeaway. I am nitpicking on things that could have been slightly better instead of perfect, as opposed to what every expectation would have us make. We would just be ripping it apart. I'm so happy that I have the pleasure of nitpicking this thing.
Absolutely. And when I was playing it, I enjoyed it immensely. Like, the first time I played it, the first week or so that it was out, it was riddled with bugs and glitches. And
riddled? I mean, I'm sorry, it was playable. It's not riddled with bugs.
I mean, my first playthrough, I had to quit because the game basically locked me out of a section and I couldn't complete it.
Okay, that's pretty riddled.
Yeah. So, luckily, they patched it up a week later, and the second time I played it was flawless. I didn't encounter any of the same problems, and they fixed a lot of little niggling things. So
the niggly, tiggly, shitty little tag nuts.
Exactly. So I enjoyed it. I mean, I was smiling from beginning to end. It was so much fun to be back in Conker's world. And like I said, Conker's a much more likable protagonist this time around. He's not just a complete asshole. Like as Brian said, like, Conker never cursed, or he wasn't like outright foul, but he was still self-absorbed. All he cared about was money, wealth. He didn't care about helping others.
Well, he's a little foul in this one. He's
foul, but he's also he's not like outright dismissive of Birdie. Like, he was actually happy to see Birdie and got along with him and actually saved his life at the end. And maybe we should get into that.
Yeah, so
Conker was a bit of a casual murderer in Bad Fur Day, which I don't think sits right with me all these years later.
You're talking about like Bloopy,
and also he just mowed down those security guards in the vault.
Oh yeah, the Matrix scene,
which I fan-wanked as he and Barry were just toxic for each other. They were not a good fit as a couple, and they brought out the absolute worst, including casual murder.
Right.
Anyway, so. Yeah, basically, real quick, the Teddies are back. They've gone legit in the eye of the public. They've opened a brewery, which is the pure platforming section of the game, which I enjoyed very much. And the platforming is about on par with Bad Fur Day's platforming, if that tells you anything. It's not like solid Banjo-esque platforming, but it's serviceable.
Yeah, I remember there was always a weird momentum to Conker that you didn't like. It never felt like you could stop on a dime. So yeah.
And so in that aspect, it does very much feel like Bad Fur Day, for better or for worse. But they do nail that.
Okay, at least it's consistent, and you definitely want that.
Yeah, and then there's the Teddies are also cutting down a bunch of trees, and Birdie says they're building a new base for that. So you start to, what are the Teddies up to?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the stealth section where you have to hide in a barrel and do it Metal Gear style,
right.
Which is, it was fun. And that was one of the bugs they fixed because in the initial version of the game, the stealth section completely break and the Teddies would just freeze and you could walk right past them. So, yeah, they fixed that.
Okay.
And then there's the lab where the Teddies are actually cloning themselves and rebuilding their army. So you're like, oh, yeah, they're up to no good, those Teddies. Mm-hmm. And that's the first-person shooter. It's like an arcade-style shooter where Teddies pop up and you have to, like, shoot them all down. And that's had challenging controls for the Xbox One because I wasn't used to that, like, having... You just control it with the right analog stick.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, this feels weird. But I actually got the hang of it.
I think the person I was watching was doing it with a mouse and keyboard, and even that looked difficult. So
yeah, but you eventually get the hang of it. And then there's 2 bosses in the game as well. In the stealth section, there is a chainsaw-wielding Teddy with a burlap sack over his head.
What's his name, Hyle?
Chainsaw Teddy?
Oh. Wait, Chainsaw Teddy or Chainsaw Teddies?
I don't know, because the achievements kind of give a mixed signal when it comes to that.
Yeah. It was established in Bad Fur Day that singular is Teddy, but now it seems like singular might be Teddies.
Well, they also call them Teddy in singular in some of the achievements. So
okay. Well, let's just call him the Chainsaw Teddy then.
And then there's also the Teddy Abomination.
Uh-huh.
The Teddy's Abomination, whatever. But
this is the one that can like shoot lasers.
That's the one in the lab. He hulks up because there's a Hulk villain called the Abomination, and he hulks up and he shoots lasers, and you have to run. It was a challenging boss fight.
Yeah, that actually looked pretty fun.
Yeah, and you have to hit him in the testicles. So there's a little callback there to Bad Fur Day.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. After you're done with the 3 missions that you can tackle in any order. Then you go back to the Cock and Plucker with the $300, but the Teddies, in retaliation for all the trouble you caused, have wired the Cock and Plucker to blow. They've set dynamite up all around it, and
bastards.
They've lit fuses. So naturally, Conker gets drunk and he starts pissing. You have to piss on 3 fuses to put them out before the Cock and Plucker blows up.
Yeah,
and the Cock and Plucker. There's a cutscene where the Cock and Plucker blows up if you don't do it. But luckily, you can just restart. It doesn't the game doesn't just end and you have to start from the beginning because you cannot save in episode 1 of Big Reunion. But again, it only takes about an hour, so it's not that pressing of an issue.
The absurd thing, I'm just thinking about this whole mission about drinking beer outside the front of the Cock and Plucker and pissing out all these fuses. Conker is basically using his body as a bucket. It's like normally you would, here's some liquid. I need to put out a thing. I'll get a bucket. I'll fill it up, and then I'll douse the thing out. But what Conker is doing is turning his body into the transportation mechanism to get the beer on the fuse.
Yeah.
It's like such a strange mechanic, but it works in this game.
Well, if you want to talk about strange.
Yeah.
So after you save the Cock and Plucker, a Teddy throws whatever. He lights Birdie on fire. I forget how exactly he does it. Was there a flaming arrow or I don't know, a torch or something?
Yep.
Anyway, Birdie is lit on fire, so you have to refuel with the beer and you have to piss on Birdie. And when you really think about that, it's quite kind of humorous.
Well, Birdie does say not again, right?
Not again. And he says, the last time this happened to me, I wasn't even on fire.
Yeah.
So I just love that Conker's, for lack of a better term, friend. You have to pee on him, and like R. Kelly style. And that's how Big Reunion... Oh, no. So then after that, after you save Birdie, the urine-soaked Birdie, you get up to the Cock and Plucker, and it's closed, and there's a note attached to the door written by whoever he was reuniting with.
Right.
And they basically say, we're sick of your shit, Conker. We're holding the reunion somewhere else, and we're not telling you where it is. But... and then it says, P.S., we're not kidnapped. Really, everything's fine, etc. And then if you look... there's capitalized words that shouldn't be capitalized, and it basically says "help us."
Yeah. So there's been some theories about
to be continued.
Yeah. Who are these people?
Who are these people?
They I think the most exciting possibility is that they are the still owned by Rare Diddy Kong racers, like Timber, Pipsy, Tip Top, Drum, Stack.
I hope somebody from Diddy Kong Racing appears in Big Reunion at some point.
Bumper the Badger was arrested for public masturbation, which is relatively canon.
He's the one I'm pushing for because of that. I feel like he would make a good Tip Top to Conker's Banjo.
Yeah.
He could be a Diddy Kong Racing character who would naturally work as a reoccurring Conker character.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. In Pocket Tales, there was Honker the Skunk, but, if you do want a modern, adult Conker antagonist or even sort of perennial sideshow Bob, he's there, sometimes he's good, sometimes he's bad, make it Bumper the Badger.
You're saying Bumper should be a villain? I'm saying he should just be an associate of Conker who pops up.
I'm not saying a villain, I'm just saying, much like Sideshow Bob has evolved over time, just make him sort of the perennial, he's around.
Okay. Like Tip Top. Or like Tip Top is what I'm saying.
Okay. I think, but not even Tip Top, because Tip Top's, he became a mindless idiot who asked for your help. I think that Sideshow Bob is a bad example. 30 Rock, Devin Banks. He needs to be the Will Arnett to Conker's Jack Donaghy.
Okay.
I think that would be fantastic. A fantastic role for Bumper the Badger.
Okay. I just want to see Bumper in it. I don't care what he does.
All right. Yeah. Agreed.
Plus, I want to see some sort of Acorn person. And I think we've made the case to Brian, so hopefully we'll see that. But I think the only way the story makes sense as a reunion to celebrate 10 years since Conker became king, it's got to be a bunch of Bad Fur Day characters in the bar who've been kidnapped. And I think it's got to be Rodent, Frankie. What?
I feel like that's the easy way out.
That's what the story is suggesting. Why would there be a reunion with Diddy Kong Racing characters 10 years after Bad Fur Day?
Why would there be a reunion with these other people? I mean, Conker said,
I don't want to know them.
I mean, he clearly
but
doesn't.
Conker's clearly matured. I'm sure he became friends with them over time.
To me, it's the obvious. And by separating it into episodes, maybe I'm placing an unrealistic burden on the surprise or the twist where there might not be one. But I feel like it's the obvious answer is that these people are the ones that surrounded his throne at the end of Bad Fur Day.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be the obvious answer.
Okay, sometimes sometimes the obvious answer is best, M. Night Shyamalan.
I'm just saying, look, I think that the good people at Team Dakota are a little more clever than that.
A little bit more clever than obvious storytelling.
No, and if they do make it the characters from Bad Fur Day, I'll tell you what, I will be elated to see them again.
Okay, fair enough.
That's fine.
I do want a Diddy Kong Racing character to appear at some point.
Yeah.
And I do want some Pocket Tales characters to show up. But I think ultimately the people in the bar who have been kidnapped should be Bad Fur Day characters.
Frankie and Rodent and the Cogs and all of them.
Oh yeah. Look, I would love to see them again. I would love to see any Conker character again. I never thought I'd see a Conker character, as outside of weird shit like Minecraft. So.
At a certain point, we're going to have to stop reveling in the novelty of a new Conker game and just judge it as a game.
And that's what I'm doing. Okay, so that's the story taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, there are some. I like the references in this game, and it's not as heavy-handed as the way Bad Fur Day parodied stuff. Like, there's no this is the Matrix. I think the closest it gets is the stealth mission where they obviously parody Metal Gear Solid. But
I love how they deal with movie references. It's just lines.
They're just there. Okay, so there's a Ghostbusters reference where two teddies are pissing and they say, "Don't cross the stream."
There was the Lord of the Rings.
I love the Lord of the Rings reference.
Looks like meat's back on the menu. Boys.
And the teddies are roasting another teddy.
Yeah.
So there's the chainsaw teddy is a dual reference because he's dressed like Jason from Friday the 13th Part 2, where he had the sack over his head.
Wait, a dual? You mean the Steven Spielberg movie about the trucker?
Yes, his first movie.
Yeah. Wait, how is Friday the 13th guy a dual reference?
Shut up. Dual reference, Friday the 13th and Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh. I literally thought you meant it was a reference to Steven Spielberg's first movie.
No.
I'm sorry. I wasn't making a joke. I actually thought that's what you were trying to say.
Dual is a homophone. It can mean two things. It can mean dual things.
Oh, my God. Okay. This episode has gone on for far too long.
And also, of course, as I mentioned, there's an Incredible Hulk reference. But the reference that made me smile the most and should have made you smile the most was the Donkey Kong reference.
Oh, yeah, no, that's all right.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean, honestly, there was already pretty much the exact same reference in Conker's Bad Fur Day, only instead of actual barrels, it was poo. So... Yeah. But
Conker specifically says, "Is there a big ape up here throwing barrels down? They never end."
That's fine. I mean, it was sort of on the nose. It's pretty. Again, it's pretty. It's hanging a lampshade where it's not needed, and I'm not going to fault it for that. But I'm not. I think the other references they resonated with me more because they were fresh. That's all.
So you're saying if Conker referenced Hoofer or Orca. Or Karate Kong, then that would have been fresh enough for you.
That's right.
But you're saying Donkey Kong wasn't fresh enough.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would have just preferred it to be Conker and the banana.
Okay, I liked the Donkey Kong, right?
No, I mean, I'm not trying to say I didn't like it. It's just that stacked up against the other ones we talked about, it's not as impressive because Conker's Bad Fur Day had a Donkey Kong arcade reference.
But he didn't specifically reference Donkey Kong. In dialogue, he didn't reference Donkey Kong, though.
Yeah, that's true. All right, fine, whatever.
Yeah, this one he specifically references Donkey Kong in dialogue, which connects to the greater Donkey Kong universe. That should make you happy.
It does.
Especially since Microsoft doesn't even know the damn character.
Okay, it makes me happy.
God, good Lord, you're hard to please.
I'm not hard to please. I'm trying to... Look, I feel like this game deserves to be judged as a game. We don't need to coddle it.
Okay, founding member of Operation Rarefall, along with Jesus, Chad McCanna.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, so as I said, like the graphics. Let's talk about the graphics because I think it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, let's not coddle this gorgeous game. No, I agree. Honestly,
they built it in Project Spark.
I think to me, it's
mind-blowing.
They cheated a little because obviously they made the Conker Creation Pack and then used that. So
yeah, but
but I think that it's a happy coincidence that the Project Spark aesthetic meshes so perfectly with the Conker series. I really adore the fact that there are no furry shenanigans, that this is a stylized take, and I love the way that the wood grain have these big swirls in them.
Yeah,
I just think everything really works. And if there was a new Conker game developed on its own engine, I kind of want to see it adopt this style. To me, this is now what a Conker game should look like.
See, for me, I would want to see a Conker game develop its own style. I like the way this looks, but I think leave it to Project Spark. You know, let this game have its own identity, and let a standalone Conker game have its identity. I don't want to shackle the series to this look, but I really do enjoy it.
Why wouldn't you? What would you have it look like? Live and Reloaded?
Live and Reloaded, but with the furry shenanigans toned down a little bit.
Really? I mean, yeah. I think that Conker is a Tex Avery pastiche. You know, that's the thing. Conker is going for those...
I will say I like the way this game looks more than Live and Reloaded.
Yeah, I think that Live and Reloaded's visual mistake was trying to go too far in the realistic camp.
It looked too much like Star Fox Adventures.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it was
when Conker should be more of a cartoon. I'll agree with you there.
Yeah.
So I want something that looks pretty, but also has more cartoony. But I don't think it should just adopt the Project Spark look. Like I don't think Conker should look.
But
like...
I don't think that's what Conker in Project Spark is. It's taking the Project Spark aesthetic and appropriating it for Conker. There's a lot more swooshes and swirls than you get with the default Spark stuff. It's slightly more stylized, but I think it really works. And
I'll agree with you there. It works so well. And you know, you're playing this and you forget that you're playing a game in Project Spark. It slips your mind.
Yep. So anyway, graphics are good. I like the graphics.
The music is just Robin Beadland's greatest Conker hits.
Now that's to me, it's a little bit of a knock against it. And maybe they just didn't have the budget for it.
I'm sure that's it. I mean,
but you know, it in my mind, I have listened to the Conker soundtrack so many times that
during sex,
typically, yeah, that, you know, I associate those songs with certain moments and orgasms. And so to hear them applied to different scenarios, it immediately takes me out of it. I would have really liked to hear original Conker-esque music in this game, but I understand if they didn't have a musician or they were trying to be honest about it and do it entirely within Spark, or, you know.
Well, remember though, the music they provide that you hear in Big Reunion is also available in the Creation Pack and Hail to the Remix. Sure. So I think they wanted to be honest that you could recreate this game minus the dialogue.
Yeah.
In the Creation Pack. Like you could just recreate this from the ground up if you're a weirdo.
Right. It was just, I mean, there was, like, the stealth mission had the same music that you hear when you're sneaking around the wasps, you know, and it's just, that's not Teddy sneaking music. That's from the first game. It just took me out of it. That's all. And that's, like I said, that's not,
Gee, Chad, do you have anything good to say about this game you didn't play?
No shit. It's not Dakota's fault, specifically. I would just have liked to hear some original music for those moments.
Okay, well. Okay. that I mean, yeah, it didn't bother me.
You're making it sound like I'm nothing but critical against this game, but I feel like I'm being fair.
Okay, we're kind of having an angel and devil thing going on right now, which is usually the way we operate, in that you're Satan and I'm angelic.
Usually.
You can't help it. You were born with red hair, just like Satan.
Yeah, just like Satan and Robin Beanland.
And they probably didn't want to go to the devil to get more music because, anyway. So, ultimately, though, did it work? Did it all come together?
That's the thing, yes. Yeah, definitely. I think it did. And that's why I wanted, when I was talking about my criticisms of it, I wanted to contain those to the middle part of this thing. Because Conker is a narrative-oriented game. At least that's what it became with Bad Fur Day. And if they had fucked up the idea of the overarching narrative, then this would have been a failure. I feel like it did sort of meander, and they lost some of the cause and effect that I would like to see in a Conker game by just having a hub that you can do in any order. Maybe they could shore some of that up in the next one.
Well, they had a hub that you could do in any order.
In Bad Fur Day? No, you mean in this one?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. By having that hub, I feel like it lost the linear cause and effect progression that you have in a Conker narrative-based story. However, if you take a step back and look at it as one part of a larger whole, they have certainly established a story and they've been planting seeds. And in that sense, I think as part of a whole, it will definitely succeed, and it only gives them something, and it gives them something to build off of. So I'm very excited at a high level, while I do still have some criticisms at a more granular level.
Okay. And I don't have the same... My criticisms are all resolved when they release the patch.
Okay.
When they fix the game. Because for me, I didn't go in expecting Conker's other bad day. I tempered my expectations, and I found the game to be just utterly charming. And
it is not lacking in charm. And I'll say the same thing.
If you go into this game, just expecting it to be like a day in the life for Conker that slowly turns into a more substantial adventure, I think if you're a serious fan of the character and his world, then it'll bring a smile to your face. I think if you're going in expecting it and wanting it to be something that it's not, then yeah, you're gonna hate it. Unclench, and you're gonna have a fun time.
Unclench,
and Team Dakota, feel free to use that quote for your marketing purposes.
That's on us.
No, I am so happy with this game, and it feels so great for Conker to be back, and in a way that I never expected, because who could expect something like this?
Yeah.
But I mean, I am, for the first time in years, I'm excited about the Conker branch of the DKU again.
Yeah.
I never thought that would happen, and I mean, I'm a Conker boy again. I'm all about it, and I can't wait. And it is really fun getting it doled out in segments like this, because there's going to be more. We're going to have more episodes to talk about. We're going to have more. Like, they could drop at any moment too. It's like, it's just going to come out of nowhere. Here's episode 2. Oh boy.
Exactly. They very well could say, hey, in a week, episode 2 comes out.
This isn't going to be like, Live and Reloaded comes out and then there's nothing for 10 years.
Yeah. So there is the ever-present threat of new Conker material.
And meanwhile, we can campaign for things like Acorn People or Diddy Kong Racing characters to appear.
That's right. And that's another great thing. There's a feedback loop between us and the creators of this thing. It's fantastic. I love that they are so receptive to the fan opinions, largely because they themselves are fans. It's
and that's why it just works, in my opinion. Because if these were people just making a Conker game and being given bullet points to hit, that would be one thing. But they're doing this out of love.
I like the idea of this like soulless sweatshop where people are forced to make games about talking squirrels. Like that's their hell.
Well, you know what? After our takeover is complete, there will be those sweatshops.
Right. Not because there's a market, just because that's how we want to view the world.
We'll make the trains run on time and the sweatshops that make Conker games.
Perfect.
Okay, so there's the other component to Conker, and that's the creation pack. We will not be giving our first impressions of that, because I'm still trying to wrap my brain around it. There's a lot to learn about coding with a K. And that
is that how they spell it?
They spell it with a K in Project Spark.
Oh, you guys, come on.
Conker even makes a joke about that in, he makes a reference to coding with a K in Big Reunion. He says, I'm glad I didn't have to code that myself. Anyway, so I'm trying to make a game where Conker crashes on a desert island, Lost style, and, Birdie is there, and like maybe Ted the boat builder had a 3-hour tour and his boat crashed, and Birdie and Conker are stuck on this island together. But it's mostly just loose concepts, and I've made a lot of grassland because it's harder than it looks. But that's my game. That's my pitch. What's yours? Well, we asked you last week to give us your best Hail to the Remix. Sorry, there's so many names for this fucking game.
Yeah.
Your best Hail to the Remix pitch.
If there's any failure with this game, it's in branding.
Yes. So we asked that because Brian Perry and Team Dakota gave us free download codes to give out.
Yeah.
And we said, call us or write us with your best pitches, and if we'd like them, we'll give you the game, Big Reunion, and Hail to the Remix for free.
Mm-hmm. So, and there was actually a more significant outpouring of ideas than we anticipated. So, these are I think we narrowed it down to 9 on this one, but these are our 9 favorites.
9 favorites. So should we just start taking the calls and also reading the emails? Like, how are we approaching this?
Well, no, I think we should just end the episode right here. Yeah, let's take
this has been a File 2.
Let's take the call.
All right.
Hey guys, this is Malik calling in from a text message capable phone here to give you my pitch for what kind of Conker game I would make. I actually have a couple of ideas in mind, but at the end of the day, I want to try and make a Conker game that's not necessarily the successor to Bad Fur Day or a direct sequel or something like that. I want to see the guys at Rare do that themselves. Something along the lines of a side quest is what I'm aiming for. Now, I remember seeing a DK Vine forum user by the name of Supercon's nephew who was remaking Conker's Pocket Tales in Project Spark. And that got me thinking of Conker's rival in that game, Conker the Skunk. While he wasn't too special in Pocket Tales, I really wonder how he would have been portrayed in a game like Bad Fur Day and what his role could have been. I'd like to try my best to make a game where Honker the Skunk makes a return and has something that Conker desperately needs to get on with his life at that point in time. I'd probably give Honker a ridiculously sad but funny backstory, giving insight as to why he's made a return into Conker's life. And since it's a more mature take on the character, there'd probably be a joke or two about how Honker's skunk fumes smell reminiscent of cannabis, i.e. weed. Since I can't really do cutscenes to the level of Bad Fur Day, I'd probably focus more on the platforming side of things, and I'd try to make it as entertaining as I could. Not just, jump here, jump there, etc. I try to mix the platforming and world building of what could have been with 12 Tales with the humor and charm of Bad Fur Day, literally trying to get the best of both worlds to make a Conker game that I'd be relatively proud of. But yeah, that's one of my ideas in a nutshell, and I can't wait to hear what other people's ideas are for a Conker game of their own. That's all I got for you guys this time. See ya!
Okay, thank you, Malik. Of course, we would have a Malik call. Yeah, I think this is actually a pretty funny idea. And yeah, Super Kong's nephew, who was doing the Conker's Pocket Tales HD, took a Conker model and recolored it to be Honker, so it's already set up.
Much like Fox has recolored John Candy.
Okay, now, all right, we won't get into it here, but I actually had a loose sketch outline for the next TED Talks, which, as we all know, TED Talks involves Conker's Pocket Tales characters exclusively. And there was...
TED Talks, also Ted, the boat builder, a DK Vine Hall of Famer.
That's right. And you know, YouTube TED Talks DK Vine to see what I'm talking about.
Nobody else has done that, though.
No one knows. But there was a role from Conker that referenced his racial disparity. But that never came to fruition, but
it might someday.
It might someday,
but not this year.
Yeah, let's just say he was referred to as President the Skunk.
Oh
no! So anyway, I like the idea of Honker getting a backstory, perhaps in parallel to whatever Conker's going through.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, Malik, fantastic job. You get a code.
Okay, so thank you, Malik. Okay, so this next one is an email we've received from DK Vine forum member Son O Sublime.
Mm-hmm.
Sono Sublime? No, Son O Sublime. I think that's the way you're supposed to say it.
Sure.
All right, so I'm going to have to read this because it's in text form.
You have no other choice but to read it.
Hi there.
Oh, come on.
I am right. Okay,
this is not that contest.
Okay, sorry. Old habits die hard. Hi there. I am writing regarding the pack giveaway, and to tell you what sort of game I would make in Project Spark. My Conker game would be an unofficial sequel to the original Conker's Bad Fur Day, and would feature platforming, running, jumping, shooting, and all of that other zany goodness. I am quite the writer, and I would aim for the story of my game to deal with the fallout of what happened at the end of Conker's Bad Fur Day. The loss of Barry, Conker being forced into being the king, rogue Teddy's left without a leadership, and the power vacuum that would result from the Panther King's iron fist being replaced with that of a reluctant squirrel. I would also try to follow canon, meaning that I would take into account the story elements of Conker's big reunion. I have a creative mind, and I have written many stories, and also made a number of video games in the past. The longest game I made lasted about 5 hours, and if you were interested, you can see firsthand the passion, heart, and soul that I put into my game making. And then they give a link to that.
Yeah. Actually, I'll read out the the thing, http://gamejolt.com/games/adventures/elements-of-the-ancients/6849. Check that out.
I hope that's not a hardcore porn game.
It might be, you know.
With underage minors getting drilled. I promise that when I get drilled, okay.
There's once you say the word underage, there's no way you can spin that in a positive way. Like minors getting drilled, you could say, ha ha ha, they're actually people who are trying to find coal from the ground. But when you say underage minors, you absolve yourself of the right to spin that.
I promise that when I get Project Spark and the Conker Creation Bundle, I will make a game that everyone can enjoy. Regards, Jordan, a.k.a. Son of Sublime.
Thank you, Son of Sublime. Guess what?
You get a code!
You get a code! We're going to private message you the code on the forum because we know who you are.
Yes, and also that idea, we have our idea for Conker's Other Bad Day, or a sequel that follows after Bad Fur Day that mirrors the Inferno, Dante. So the Divine Comedy, actually.
Yes.
So I think a lot of people are interested in following up the emotional fallout from Bad Fur Day. I think that interests a lot of Conker fans. So it's nice to see we're not the only ones.
Yeah, and I specifically love the reference to a power vacuum with the Panther King being gone. Because, while we do have a new king, not all kings are created equal, clearly. And I think that some kind of Game of Thrones style political intrigue could actually do pretty well in this universe.
Everybody views Conker as Joffrey. That's.
I was about to say something, but then I realized it would be a spoiler.
Oh. Well, everything with Game of Thrones is a spoiler.
Yeah.
At some point, you just have to let it go.
Yeah,
That's a frozen spoiler.
The fact that Game of Thrones...
Winter is coming because Josh Gad is a snowman.
All right, you've brought it all the way around, but we got to keep going.
Oh, no, we have more?
Let's take another call.
Hi there, guys. This is Bomo. Also known as Thomas Fairfield. So I've got some feedback on what sort of Conker game I'd like to make. I'm going to presume that assets are going to keep coming, but what I'd like to make is sort of like a Conker party game, maybe in the spirit of the original game's multiplayer, where they took a lot of aspects of the original game and stuck that together. Like, they had the bit with the raptors versus the cavemen, they had the heist, they had the beach, they had the racing, which I hated, but whatever. They had the tanks, they had the various war games. So I think I'd like to do that maybe like in a sort of Mario Party setting where you have a single character who goes and plays through various scenarios. And I'm assuming that playing as a raptor through some scenarios would be pretty hard. But yeah, something like that where aspects of Conker that don't always have a chance to shine would. So probably like there'd be a game where you test to fill up a balloon faster than other guys test to fill up a balloon, that sort of stuff. I'd also like maybe a game where you play as bats and race each other to feed as many villagers into the grinders as possible. And maybe a game where, I want a tank game. And maybe, if possible, get the Diddy Kong races involved. Obviously not Diddy Kong himself, but other guys, if you can. So, yeah, that would be basically a Conker party game that's a multiplayer game, but multiplayer more in the spirit of the original Nintendo 64 games, multiplayer that Live and Reloaded, which was basically just trying to jump in the Team Fortress/Battlefield model. So, yeah. That's my idea for a Conker game, guys. I look forward to hearing this here on the Conversation, even though I don't usually listen to it. Hey, guys.
Bomo, did not expect to hear you calling in.
Whoa, who is Bomo for the uninitiated?
Bomo, aka DK Spartacus, is a
clearly that's a name.
He's a DK Vine mainstay, at least on the forum, but he's been fairly critical of Conker's role in Spark. So
he's a Conker. He's a very specific Conker fan.
Yeah.
He's also had critiques about our fetishization of certain Pocket Tales characters.
Yeah. The fetish. How do you say that?
Fetishization.
Fetish.
I didn't even say it right the first time.
Fetishizing. So
yeah. The yes.
Yeah. How we like to picture Conker's Pocket Tales characters wearing fishnet stockings.
On treadmills. Yum.
Yeah. So
I would like to drill those characters.
Yeah, Bomo has expressed some disdain with Spark, or at least Conker and Spark in the past, but I'm very encouraged by this call. To me, that tells me that, Bomo, you are interested in realizing your vision for Conker via Spark, which I think this is a solid idea. I would love to see a Mario Party Conker game.
You know, I've often said, as much as I hate Mario Party, if you would just put in characters I like more, I would be a total hypocrite and love it.
You would spin the control stick like a maniac if you were playing as Ted the Boat Builder.
I definitely would wound my hands again. I would give myself Mario Party stigmata all over again just to play. Of course, we know Bomo won't go with Ted the Boat Builder, but hey, I like the Bad Fur Day guys too.
That's fine. He can be everyone's favorite character, Larry the Larva.
Wait, but you play as bats and rape each other. I didn't get that part.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what I heard. Play as bats and rape each other. I didn't know. I guess that's a mini game that he wanted to see extend out of the Bachelor chapter.
Well, you know, Conker is all about making current references, and we've never had any Bill Cosby jokes in the Conker verse, so I'm all for that. I'm all for that, Bomo. You make as many tasteless rape jokes as you want with bats.
That's right. And because you don't ask for consent, you get a code. We're private messaging that to you, Bomo.
Congrats. All right, so we got an email from Raymond D.
That's right.
Raymond D.
I will read this one out.
Okay.
I've loved the Conker games ever since I first witnessed them when I was way too young to play them. The story mode is fun, an unmatched classic, but even more notable for me and my friends was the multiplayer experience in both Conker's BFD and later in Conker Live and Reloaded. If I were given the chance, I would use Project Spark's tools to recreate the unique multiplayer experiences from both classic games, featuring remakes of their original game types and maps, and perhaps even some maps of my own design. I would create 2 games with everything. Yes, everything, including Deathmatch, War, Heist, Tanks, Beach, and Race for Conker's Bad Fur Day, and the maps matched to the unique modes like Beach Dead, The Pit, and Fortress Dew in Conker Live and Reloaded. To my understanding, they've included the player models of the varying Teddy classes from Conker Live and Reloaded, and here's hoping that they include the Squirrel player models as well, which I don't think they did, but I think you can probably tweak them.
And I'm sure those will come at a later date.
Right, the generic gray squirrel.
Because Brian sounds like he'll add some Live and Reloaded. He suggested they might add some Live and Reloaded elements later on.
Right. Back to the email. These would serve as fun characters to play as in the classic Deathmatch or War modes from Conker's Bad Fur Day, and I could replicate the loadouts and match them to the models from Conker Live and Reloaded. While the project would be lengthy, it would be an excellent test of my skills as an aspiring developer, and I welcome the challenge. I still play these classic games with my friends today, but to have a convenient revamped version of the multiplayer on my Xbox One would be very welcome in my books. Thank you for the consideration of my ideas and for the opportunity to win this exciting add-on pack. Well, Raymond D, you get consideration of your ideas, and you get an opportunity to win this exciting add-on pack, and you have won it!
Wouldn't that suck if we just said... Nope.
We're not. You had the opportunity and you lost.
But we're airing this publicly to shame you.
No, Raymond, we've got your email. You may be on the forum. If you are, great. If you're not, join. But we're gonna email the code. We're gonna email the code to you. Thank you so much.
And that's the thing. If anybody has made these pitches and gets these codes, and you're not on the forum, we want follow-ups. We want to see what you do with it.
Yeah, absolutely. We will forward what you've created along to Project Spark, and you can also get in touch with them at Project Spark on Twitter.
Or on Facebook.
Yeah. Hey, I take over the Twitter, man. That's my world. I know Twitter.
I know. We've got a little Cold War brewing between our two social media fiefdom.
Yeah, it's my 704 followers to your 33,000. I'm almost there.
34,000 as of Sunday.
Oh, fuck you.
Bitch.
Good day, lads. Scrap 69 here, eh? Bloody hell, it's been a while since I've called you, lad, eh? Back in South Africa, we called out the bloody hell, can't think of it, but it's post-apartheid time when there's no apartheid between apartheids, alright? Anyway, I call in about the competition, eh? And what I reckon is, no one's really bloody thought about why the bloody hell did Conker wake up with all those bloody red squirrels around him, eh? Because, you have to wonder how he bloody managed to get a whole bunch of squirrels to have sex with him. And I reckon he had to undertake a few missions, do a bit of blood diamond searching. You know that with blood diamonds, that you can tell a good blood diamond by its age. You give it a bit of a taste, and you cut it a little bit. It's like a tray. You can see how mature it is and how long it's been in a slave sack or up their anus. The more shenanigans it's been through, the better. Anyways, the mission is, and the gameplay that I reckon would be a good one, is Leisure Suit Conker. So you essentially try and find out how the bloody hell Conker managed to sleep with all these lasses, eh? Could be some missions where he finds some blood diamonds in a sink, and then he gives it to the lass. Because I reckon red squirrels, and they would bloody like a few blood diamonds, eh? Because they're bloody red. So, it would be like giving a lass a rose, except an acorn. Except it's even harder than a bloody acorn. So I reckon, they'll be really into it. So, yeah. Leisure Suit Conker. It'll be a bloody beautiful game, and, you could never deny how good it is. Because it leads to sex at the end, and I reckon that's how every game should end. Even Call of Duty. Alright, see you lads.
Of course. Of fucking course you would call in.
I'm a little surprised because we haven't heard from Mr. 69 in a while.
That's right. It felt for a while like Memechi was taking his torch and running with it.
Well, Memechi is a more downbeat, less criminal sex offender version of Scraps.
Less criminal. I like that criminal sex offender has become an adjective with our conversation callers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was bound to happen. Mm-hmm. I mean, I assume, when the show, marches forward in 3 years from now, it's prison inmates are just going to make up the bulk of our listenership.
Well, it's a good thing, though.
And I'm okay with that because, Johnny Cash loved to entertain prisoners.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
And hey, if prison population...
If it's a captive audience.
If prison population trends continue as they are, then the majority of the listening audience will be in prison.
That's right. So
political.
Or shot dead by the police. I mean, depending on the race.
Oh, really political.
Oh, hot button issues.
So yeah, Leisure Suit Conker. Good job, Scraps. You get a code.
Of course, his was going to be just about sex.
Yeah, and by the way, let us not ignore the fact that he ended his pitch with the sentence, "You can never deny how good it is because it leads to sex at the end." I can't think of a single thing that could be potentially perverted by adopting that slogan.
Yeah. We should make t-shirts based on that.
Mm-hmm.
Sell them.
Yeah. All right.
We want to make money off the show, so
enjoy your code, Scraps.
And thanks, Scraps.
It will be private message to you on the forum.
Private, just like everything you like.
Hey, lads!
Hey, lads. Innuendo.
Call back.
So we've got another email here, and it's by somebody I don't recognize named Royal Leffelman.
This is the off-brand straight-to-video sequel to the Royal Tenenbaums.
It's made by the Asylum, yes.
Yeah.
Because the Asylum is big into ripping off Wes Anderson now.
Yeah. Their movie The Life Terrestrial left something to be desired.
Yeah, although I think it was Dean Cain's breakout performance. All right. So I'm going to read this. All right. If I were to make a Conker game on Project Spark, it would be about how Birdie the Scarecrow goes kibitzer? Goes kibitzer.
Is that a Yiddish? Are we allowed to say that?
Are we allowed to say Yiddish?
I don't know. You continue with this while I Google whether or not that's Yiddish.
It looks German to me, so it might be the exact opposite of Yiddish.
All right, continue.
All right. The Scarecrow goes kibitzer and becomes evil and then takes over Conker's world. But that's not the worst part. Birdie gets so mean he closes down the Cock and Plucker. So in this game, it's Conker's job to defeat all of Birdie's minions across the land to gain access to Birdie's castle. So Conker can get back his beer and bring back the Cock and Plucker to the land. There also would be tons of random dialogue that would make tons of people laugh. Also, it would feature intense gameplay. Here's a rough title card for the game. And then Mr. Leffelman actually provided a mock-up. And it's Birdie in shadows. And the game is called Conker. Birdie's Crazy Rampage.
Well, that's on the nose, isn't it? Birdie's Crazy Rampage.
I don't know what it is about this pitch or the image provided, but when I read it, and Chad can bear witness to it because we read these together, I was laughing uncontrollably. There's something about it.
It's called Birdie's Crazy Rampage.
Yeah, and it was the name. It was like the pitch was, okay, Birdie becomes evil. But
yeah.
When you frame it as Birdie's Crazy Rampage.
Yeah, I love the fact that it doesn't even try to be clever. Like, it doesn't try to make a pun.
The cleverness is in the lack of pun related name. It's clever in its bluntness.
It's a postmodern pun, and it is fucking hilarious. Birdie's Crazy Rampage.
I mean, I was almost in tears from this, and we're gonna have to provide this on Facebook. Like when this episode goes up, I'm gonna share this on Facebook. Chad, you should do the same for Twitter, because people need to see the vision for Birdie's Crazy Rampage that Royal Leffelman had, and because you tickled. We're cynical. We're hard asses. We don't find much funny in the world today.
Yeah.
There's too much tragedy in the world. But because you made us laugh, Mr. Leffelman, you get a code.
You get a code. And by the way, kibitzer is Yiddish.
It's Yiddish.
It's Yiddish, and it means someone who provides advice, often unwanted. So hey, that applies pretty well for Birdie.
Well, there you go. And so, Mr. Leffelman, we will be providing you this code via email.
That's right.
So look for that.
Look for that, as I will look for Toby Ziegler criticizing my non-Jewish use of the Yiddish.
That's right.
So next entry. I was going to say caller, but I mean, technically it's a caller, but it's...
Yeah, but...
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Clay, also known as DKC64, calling to throw my name into the hat for the free Conker downloads. If I won, my game idea is kind of based off the beginning of the storyline for Bad Reunion, where at the beginning, Conker starts out completely naked, and I thought that was awesome. And so if I could, I'm assuming I can in the engine, I would make Conker naked once again. But the whole point of the game would be run around and have Conker reveal his naked self to all the women and children possible, while the bad guys chase Conker and try to track him down. So the point of the game is to go reveal Conker's naked self to the young ones and the women, while not getting caught by the bad guys. So it's kind of perverted and weird, but that's what I came up with. Thanks, guys. Bye.
All right.
So the entire game, Conker is nude, and it's about him being basically a pox on society.
I'm not sure if you can make Conker nude in Hail to the Remix. Maybe you can. I haven't tried it yet.
But it's basically him being a horrible human being who flashes women and children. Well, not human, a horrible squirrel. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So... Well, I think Clay, a.k.a. DKC64, for having the...
You think he's Clay Aiken? Because that would be amazing if Clay Aiken posted on our forum and was a really big Donkey Kong and Conker fan.
If we can just get him to follow us on Twitter...
Oh, my God.
You get a code!
You get a clone.
Yeah.
Thank you, Clay.
And
let's see what you can mold.
I hope you don't.
In Project Spark.
I hope you don't execute your vision, but just in case you wanna, you get a code.
You get a code.
DKC64 coming at you.
All right. So we've got another email, which I believe you'll read.
I will. And this is from one of my favorite Born Again posters, Saf. Saf, a.k.a. Saf. I like to think of him these days as the Saf because he has become one of our most erudite, insightful posters.
Well, he's always been. That's why I wanted to bring him back a couple years ago.
Bring him back, like you control the licensing fees to Saf.
Well, he was banned, so technically, the DK Vine brand of Saf, yes, we did control it. Yeah, we should really make him the Saf again. I feel like he's earned it.
I feel like Saf is a boon to the community as a whole, and
in that he's the first Lost cast member to die.
That's right. Yeah, he went into septic shock after he fell out of an airplane.
We wanted to remove his leg, but he wanted to be brave.
Yeah,
he wanted,
He said, "I'm not the Saf. I'm a Saf. Let it go."
We'll see him in season 6, though, so it's fine.
That's all right. Yeah. Saf, we'll see you on the Sideways website. So
Clefus Wiggly Tough Pokemon Bonanza.
That's right. So Saf, his entry was, my game idea piggybacks on the fanon you suggested when the DLC was announced last year. Conker enters the source, capital S, in search of Barry, but he's multiplied, loses his immediate memory, and
speaking of Lost,
and is put at the mercy of all these programmers. The game would begin with Conker starting to regain his memories in the middle of a typical Conker fan game. He starts causing glitches and jumping from fan game to fan game, eventually regaining his memory, his purpose, and heading for the deepest level of the source, which would turn out to be the world of Voidstorm, the Project Spark default setting. Not to spoil too much in case I do make the game, but there would be a lot of metatextuality and wider DKU references. The fanon perspective that the Lord of Games represents Microsoft's meddling hand? Oh yeah, that would come into play. So there's my entry to the contest. Hope you enjoy it. So, alright, Saf. I think that, aside from the fact that you get a code and we'll private message it to you. Aside from that fact.
On the forum.
Yes, on the forum. I think you deserve so much more credit than it appears on the surface for this idea, because what you have done is essentially given what sounds like a very reasonable DK Vine official-esque stance for how Conker is appearing in the content creation pack. I think the idea that Conker entered the source to find Barry is brilliant as a way of explaining how he is now beset with all of these fan-created video games, because we do have that in-universe explanation with the programmer.
Yeah, it's out of all the pitches we got, I think this is the most... I don't want to say clever because that besmirches the other pitches, but I feel like this is definitely had the most thought put into it as for how it relates to the broader Donkey Kong universe.
Yeah, I think that while the other ones were kind of treating it as a continuation or a branching off point from the canon, the traditionally canon narrative Conker universe, this is the only one we got that specifically confronts Project Spark itself, and
it's
that
looking to tie it all together.
Yeah, and Conker. We are considering Conker in the Conker Creation Pack, Conker's big remix or whatever the hell it's called. That is canon.
Hail to the remix.
Hail to the remix.
How do you not know this by this point?
As we said, branding, man. It's very confusing. There's the Conker create and content bundle. I don't know. There's too many words that start with C. Anyway, this is the only one.
Like Christian, right, Chad?
I hate him. No, whatever.
Oh my God.
Whatever.
There goes our audience again.
Whatever. I don't care. Why are you trying to make me into some zealot monster? I don't. Whatever.
I'm bored today.
Hey, Chad and Hyle, it's MF Wolf from the forums. Man, I'm not doing super well today. There is a lot of stuff going on in terms of alcohol yesterday, and I'm now feeling it. But you know what? While I was doing that yesterday, I had a moment of clarity, shall we say. I thought of the best possible Conker game of all time. Wanted to tell you guys about it. Here's the premise. It's a Japanese style dating sim. You play. I think I'll have you play as Faho because that all the bitches really want the money. I'm pretty sure that's what that's about now. You play as Faho, and you gotta choose which Conker character you want to date. We'll have Conker there. We'll have Birdie there. I'll see if I can, you can recolor Conker, right? So I'm going to recolor him as Ryan Stiles, and then it gets some sound clips from Whose Line Is It Anyway? And I think that's just basically going to be it. It's going to play more like an interactive novel than anything. And I'm pretty excited to be given the chance to make this. It's a dream come true for probably someone out there, not me, I hope, but yeah, definitely dating sim.
And rounding out the show, multiple sclerosis wolf.
Oh my God! I'm glad you had the fortitude to get up off the floor.
Yeah,
and called us with this because.
Yeah, so through his hangover, he was able to conceptualize a Japanese dating sim. I love the angle playing as Faho. What I really love is that this gives me an opportunity to campaign for Ryan Stiles in the DK Vine Hall of Fame 2015. Go to dkvine.com/Hall of Fame and vote for Ryan Stiles as your favorite Conker character. I'm not influencing the vote. But vote for Ryan Stiles.
I hold the DK Vine Hall of Fame voting process to be sacred, Chad. And if you were influencing the vote in any way,
I'm being completely objective. I'm not saying you should vote for Ryan Stiles as your favorite Conker character.
You're not saying, okay, even if you were, you're not saying it as Chad McCanna from off of DK Vine. You're saying it as a private citizen.
This is Chad McCanna, concerned pedestrian. This is Chad McCanna,
man on the street,
casual observer of Ryan Stiles. Which is how I said it in the police report when I was arrested for standing outside Ryan Stiles' Hollywood palatial home with binoculars.
We'll be talking about the Hall of Fame in the coming weeks, but yes, voting has now begun for the 2015 DK Vine Hall of Fame.
Sure.
Ryan Stiles is in the Conker category. You can vote for him.
Yeah, and Ryan Stiles is canonically Conker's very good friend in the years between 2001 and 2005.
Now, you said you wanted to see Diddy Kong Racers in the reunion because, oh, by the way, MF Wolf, you get a code.
You get a code.
Now, you said that we'll
bees.
We'll PM it to you via the forum.
As my favorite animated GIF of all time. Anyway.
Yeah, and you don't really like animated GIFs, do you?
No, I'm not too much of a fan of animated GIFs, but the Oprah Bees one, I never not laugh when I look at it. So
choosy moms choose GIFs, and out of the ones they choose, they prefer Oprah-related bee humor.
Well, choosy moms are cunts that should have taken computer science and realized that GIF stands for graphical, which starts with a hard G.
I'm just saying the guy who invented the damn thing calls them GIFs, so...
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, what did he ever contribute?
Yeah, aside from the GIF format.
So... anyway, yeah, you said you wanted Diddy Kong Racers to appear as the people Conker is having the reunion with because that would be unexpected. But I would argue what would be more unexpected? Characters like Diddy Kong Racing Racers or beloved entertainers that are known for their improv comedy, much like what we're doing right now.
I would,
but only they do it a little bit more successfully.
I would love if you finally get into not the Cock and Plucker, but wherever they're being held hostage, and it's just the cast of Whose Line Is It Anyway? It's Colin Mockery, Ryan Stiles, Wayne Brady, Greg Proops, Drew Carey, and hey, let's throw in Aisha Tyler in there. And
oh wow.
Oh yeah, I'm going old and new school, man.
And then Richard Simmons comes out to have some very, very sexual based skits.
Oh yeah. When Conker encounters them all, they're playing that one game where you have to take the person and pose them in different positions. Yeah. And Richard Simmons, oh my God, he is just vamping for the audience.
and the audience, which is made up of Acorn people, they're just losing it.
They're in the cell right across the hallway, and they are loving it. But oh my God, if Ryan Stiles, canonical Conker character and one of Conker's friends, who he used
friend of Conker,
they used to do open mic together. And if you don't believe that this is canon, you should check out the video that was included in Conker Live and Reloaded called Conker Celebrity Squirrel, which is available on YouTube.
It was the Conker Live and Reloaded demo disc that you got for reserving Conker Live and Reloaded, but we're still including it in the umbrella that is Conker Live and Reloaded.
Well, yeah, when you purchase Conker Live and Reloaded, they provide this content to you. And it has narrative elements. I think that's enough to say it's canon.
It was packaged in an Xbox disc.
There you go.
Yeah.
In
an Xbox, the package itself is put together by Microsoft, and it's in the Xbox packaging. So what?
It's an Xbox game, and it's interactive in that you hit play.
Yeah, so, look, I'm not trying to influence the vote, but I did vote for Ryan Stiles in the Conker category.
Ryan Stiles should be the ultimate end game of Conker's Big Reunion. Are you listening, Team Dakota?
It's, okay, Acorn People, Bumper the Badger, Ryan Stiles. Yeah. That's all we asked for, Team Dakota.
These are all reasonable options.
I gave you an amazing blurb you can use in press releases, in trailers.
Look how generous we're being, Team Dakota. There's no way that any of these options will alienate a wider audience. Why aren't you using them?
You gave us a bunch of free codes to give out to our listeners, but really, what have you given us?
Yeah.
Besides a new Conker game.
Besides that.
No, we want more. We want Ryan M.F. Stiles. And that stands for motherfucking, by the way.
Yeah, it's short for motherfucking wolf.
Yeah, it's right.
The MF stands for MF Wolf, which is a strange way to abbreviate something.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? When I get Ryan Stiles in the creation pack, I'm going to give him multiple sclerosis because
what?
Project Spark is amazing, Chad. What? You can do anything. You can do anything.
This has been a File 2 production.
Qué rico.